Okay, right, welcome along to this video. Today we're still at the MX5 Spring Rally, and I'm going to do a video which I've been promising everyone that I was going to do, which was an update and show of my MX5, which you can see just in the background there. I'm going to do a quick walk around. I'm going to do a brief description on what the car is and what it's running, and the reason the reasons why I chose to do what I did, really. So I'm going to give you a quick look around the car. So there it is, and it's all been cleaned for the show. So basically, I've had this car for quite some years now, and it started off as an S Special, which I bought off a customer, but I've done a lot to it obviously since then. It was pretty much in its standard format from the customer, other than the fact that we had fitted auto connection wide arches on the back, which gave them a 30mm extension, which were blended in. Other than that, that was pretty much how the car was. And since then I've done many things over the years of ownership, including I think blowing up about 8 engines, which I think I've briefly mentioned in other videos. So it's got a garage vary. Well, it's basically for a carbon Miata rear panel at the back. And yeah, so you've got the rear panel on there. Wheels are new, rotors. As you can see in the interior, I've got the red interior in there, which I managed to acquire some years ago. The Mazda speed seats, which I've acquired, had them for a few years, which I really like. So yeah, so in the engine bay, what I did was I basically did a bit of it's not an engine bay tuck, it's a bit of an engine bay tidy up, really. Sort of deloomed it, welded up a few holes and painted it. But I did the engine in here is a 1.9 balanced forged VVT engine from the Mark 2.5 MX5s. And I've got a Skunk 2 inlet manifold on there, Skunk 2 throttle body, cooling system, something that I had to design and sort of reroute. Turbo manifold is one that we made with help from our friend Ben, which he designed, welded up. Downpipe I made, and the rest of the exhaust. So there's been a lot of design and fab work on this car, as you can see, because at the top there we have an intercooler, and then down there we have the rad, which was something that I had to come up and design all the mounts for it and the way it was all going to work. External oil cooler. So the car is running a conservative 300 horsepower at the wheels, and the reason for doing this build I'm going to flip the camera around now. The reason for doing this build was I watched there's a guy in America called Greg Peters who runs the Car Passion channel, and I had just blown up my 1.6 again, and it was a channel that I like watching. He's very much a sort of like guy that does a lot of stuff on his driveway, and he just literally blew his 1.6 up, and he was doing a 1.9 VVT build engine like this, and he was the one that sort of spurred me on to do something similar. I did on his build, he used Supertech pistons and Wise Code XXX rings, and I did the same. But as far as internals, that's the only similar thing that I've done. But he was the inspiration for doing this. So Greg, if you see this video, I love what you're doing as well. So yeah, keep up the good work. And so anyone watching this video, go check him out, the Car Passion channel. Greg Peters, he's in America, and he's doing some like fabulous stuff on his driveway, just as like anyone else's view who's watching this that does stuff at home. So that's what he's all about. So So yeah, so back to the car. It's been on the dyno, and it was I think it was 284 at the wheels. But when it was on the dyno, when we got it back from the dyno, we realised we were losing boost through the wastegate. It needed tightening up, and since then it was boosting on the dyno about 20 psi. It's now sort of going up to 26. So I know it's a conservative 300 horsepower at the wheels. I did actually recently damage my 6-speed gearbox at 4th gear. Greg, yeah, I did the same as you. So I've now tapered it down a bit in the mid-range where it made its peak torque and power. So that's all good. So yeah, so I'll take you around, give you another tour around the car again. These wings they're TK style. I got them from Rev 9 in America, but the actual wings are done in Japan. They're 20mm wider. I think they look alright. I've got to get the indicators put in here. There's a bit of polishing that needs to be buffing off there. As you can see, the shot down the car, not sure how this video is coming out, but the rear wings are like 30mm wider at the back, which the fronts look very similar. Right, so that's the tour of the car finish really. I have actually prepared a little list of specs if anyone's interested. I'm really bad at remembering things, so I've had to write this down. So, drivetrain is a 6-speed gearbox with Torsen diff, Super Pro diff infill bushes on diff mounts, upgraded clutch with light and flywheel, uprated engine mounts. Suspension is Gazgold Pro coilovers, Mark II Jackson Racing front anti-roll bar, and Mark I Jackson Racing rear anti-roll bar. Brakes, which are our Rottinger 1.8 black diamond discs and pads all round. And this is the bit you've probably been waiting for, engine. So 1.9 VVT, balanced crank rods, pistons, forged rods, Supertech pistons, Wiseco XXX rings, boundary oil pump, ATI damper, Supertech intake and exhaust valves, Supertech valve springs, Supertech shim under buckets, Supertech 84mm pistons, 9:1 compression ratio, Wiseco XXX rings, Cometic head gasket, uprated cam belt, Skunk 2 inlet manifold, Skunk 2 throttle body, MX5 Restorer turbo manifold, MX5 Restorer downpipe, MX5 Restorer exhaust system, top mount intercooler, and Motorsport Electronics boost solenoid. ECU, that's the ME221. Fuel system, Dutchworks fuel injectors, 700cc, radium high flow rail, Aeromotive fuel pressure regulator with AN6 lines from the fuel tank back, and a Warbro 255 fuel pump. That's probably something that I didn't really touch on much really, is a lot of the specs that have gone into this car. I redid the fuel lines from the fuel tank up into the engine bay. A lot of this stuff in the build, nothing was factory. I managed to use some parts. What I did manage to use with the radiator was I used the standard uprated radiator, which I had to flip upside down, which is why you can see I've got the. I did mention that in the other previous videos, but that's why I've got the swirl tank there. So yeah, so I hope you've enjoyed this video. I've tried to gloss over as much as I am going to do another video on this, but I know from the comments people have been asking for this video about the car, and so I've managed to do it today at the show. I tried to pick a moment when there wasn't many people around, but yeah, so that's my MX5. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next video, and we'll see you next time.